Well, welcome back to another stage of building my Cathy's flower house. Here we have the end result that I'm trying to achieve, but finishing off from the previous stage that I videoed, I can now tell you that I've painted all of the elements of wood that were required of me, so I'm now going to move on to something else. So just put these all to one side. Don't need these at all for a little while. So we're now going to move on to the doors. So today I'm going to have a go at doing the door and the shelf one. So I've gathered all my bits and pieces that I need together, and that is obviously the glue. And I've got a little tray here which has got everything on it waiting for me to work on. So these are the elements that they wanted in the guidebook, so this is what I'm going to start with today. So keeping the guidebook handy so I can follow it. Not too sure that I need to worry too much about it. I will need a little clamp though, so I've got a little clamp I can use to hold the perspex in place. So I think I might start with the perspex first. So here's the perspex. We have a door. They seem to have given me two doors. I'm not quite sure that I need two doors, but I've got two doors, and obviously that perspex is going to go over the doors like that. I've got two pieces of wood as well, and this is going to go at the bottom, but obviously the pieces of wood are what we need to use to hang on to it. So I'm just going to follow the guide, and the guide tells me that I need to put glue around the edges. Now I can't see that there's a right way or a wrong way, so I've got to work out which way the door is going to opening. And if I look at the picture on the front, it shows me that the door is opening that way, so I need to put the perspex on the reverse side. So I just turn that over. I'm just gonna probably cut off a bit more than I need, and I think I might actually cut it first rather than, yeah, I can see where I need to put the perspex. So if I get myself a pencil, I can see that needs to be, I don't want to cover over the holes obviously, so I need to come just slightly in. Might need a pen rather than a pencil though. So make sure it's obviously straight, that's the important thing. I think that's where the clamp might be useful, to be honest. So I'm just going to clamp that in place so I know it's straight. I'm just going to mark the perspex, and then obviously I've got enough there to do a second one if I need to. That's good. So move that that way to give myself a bit more room. That's the piece I don't need, so I can pop that back in the bag. I've decided that it's much easier, actually I'm going to use the other piece. Yeah, that's better. Need to make sure that there's enough to put over the top and the bottom. It's quite tricky. I don't want to cover up the holes where the handle's going, but I obviously need to make sure. Okay, I think tweezers will come out for this one. So with the glue I need to actually get it open in the first instance. I've got a little cover there to put on the top when I'm ready. So I'm just going to sort the glue out. So I've just snipped off the top of the glue bottle. So now I'm going to apply some glue around the edges. So I think I'm going to put some in the middle. Okay, so let's put a bit of glue in there. Being very careful not to put too much in, obviously, because we don't want too much glue. Really could probably do with a little brush, I think, maybe. Just to take any excess of glue off. Looks better. Trial and error, I think, this sort of thing. And a little bit along the bottom. Comes out quite quick, so you have to really work quite slowly with it. Not, as I say, get any over those handles. Okay, so let's take my tweezers. Let's put the lid on the glue as well. And just take my tweezers, and I'm going to start from the top. It seems to set really quickly, so don't really want to try go too quickly, because I want to make sure that it's the right size for the... So I'm just going to smooth that on. I think that one needs to go over just a fraction. That's it. That's got the door has now got glass in it. You can just about see that on there. So let's just push that down there a little bit. That's better. Okay, so now that's that on there. So the this piece needs to go on the front, so I need to turn it over onto the board, and I need to glue those two pieces of wood at the top, the bottom of that bit, and just see how far high up that comes. So just a little bit below. If I take it down a bit, just below the door, so one piece there, and see where it comes on the actual. I want to line those bits at the bottom up as much as I can, but I want to make sure I get it below the door handles, so I think that needs to come down towards the bottom. The diagram is showing me that it's got to go slightly above, but if you're not too careful, you're going to clash with the door handle on the end, so it's quite a snug fit. So if I put that below the door first, that gives me plenty of room. I think I'll start with that top one. So a little bit of glue on each end, I think, would be the answer. So a bit on that end. A bit on that end. Ooh, stand up. Yeah, obviously making sure that it's straight. And take some of that excess glue off, because we don't want any excess of the glue. I'll put a bit of that down the bottom so not to waste any. And then do the same. Just need to make sure that that is absolutely straight, because otherwise it's not going to look right. And again, a bit of glue. Glue comes out very quickly, so okay. You do have to work very quick, I have to say. So let's put the lid back on the glue pot. That's it. So those two pieces are on. And I can put that on as well. So that's quite good. So I'm not putting too much all the way along. I just think I'd do the touching points. You've got to get the idea of how quickly that glue comes out of that pot. It's actually just like string. Okay, so now let's just nudge that down a fraction. I'll take my tweezers, I think, for this bit. And I want to line the edge of this bit up to the edge of the one at the bottom, so that it looks neater. Okay, so there, that's the door with the bit on the front secure, so I can put that one to. I have a spare door. I think that's going to be for the, that's going to become obvious later on what that's going to be for. So okay, so my door is going to come that way. Yes, right. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the shelf. So these are the pieces for the shelf. Reasonably obvious which piece is which. That bigger piece is going to go at the bottom. So, and they just literally do slot in by the look of that. So let's see how we do this one. Okay, so that's the bottom bit runner in, and I think a bit of glue might be required on the core on where they slide in. So let's take my pencil and work out where these ones are going to go in. Yeah, so they go in either side of there. So a bit of glue on those edges, I think. And underneath. Okay, so I'm just going to slide that in there. And the same on this piece. A little bit of that seems to stabilize it quite nicely, and the glue I think is just the added bonus for keeping it straight. So now we can do the next with the next shelf, which is going to be that one, into that one. So this time I think I'm going to put it onto the actual shelf. And then hopefully there's more stability there once you get that in. And then that one will go across the top. So I have some excess glue coming out, so I'm going to take some of that excess glue and use it across the top, and hopefully that will be given sufficient. Really, I think you could do with this glue being in a smaller pot. But you certainly do get covered in glue. Okay, so that would then be the shelf made as well. I think once it's dried it should be better, it should be more rigid. It certainly seems to hold its shape better once you've got the glue in place, so I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to move on to another piece and see what need to finish off the door first, because I need to bend the handles in on that one. So that'll be my next challenge. Okay, so it's obviously a shelf building day today on this session, so I'm going to have a go at now doing shelf number 3. I will do shelf number 2 in a minute, but I've got to cut some wire here, so I'm sticking to doing stuff that is just ordinary cut at the moment. So we're going to have a go at shelf number 3. So shelf number 3 requires me to have 2 of these pieces, 4 tiny pieces and 2 shelves. So looking at the diagram, I'm going to glue one piece to the other, obviously, and make one part. So these are the 2 side pieces, so they go across that way. So one is that way and one is on top. So I think a bit of glue is needed on that point, and a bit of glue on that point. The best way of doing this is lying it on its back, and there are 2 pieces of glue, top and bottom. So that's one. That'll be 2. So again, just a gentle nudge to keep them straight, so otherwise the shelving will be lopsided. We don't want lopsided shelving. Okay, so I'm looking at this and it's showing me that, yeah, there's 2 long ones there. Yes, glue there. Okay, so, and those 2 at the bottom. So again, a bit of glue at the bottom in that junction. Quite handy having that there actually, and a bit of glue on that side. Okay, oops. Need a bit more glue on that one. Okay, so again, bit of glue on there, and again making sure it's straight, and then a bit of glue on that one, again making sure it's straight. So once I've got the glue on all four corners, I think my next task might be to put the shelf in at the bottom, looking at how this goes. So I think that might be my next, oops, don't want to knock me edge thing off, so make sure it's straight is the first thing. So just going to just twiddle that to make sure that they're absolutely straight, and that shelf will go on there just like that. So I think a bit of glue along that edge, be easier to put it on before I put the other bit on, I think, than to do it the other way around. Right, back on its back. Bit of a nudge, because you've got to get it straight, otherwise your plants will fall off. These do take quite a while to dry out, so after this one I think I'm going to pause it and just hold it there for the day and then come back to it, so it gives them the opportunity to dry. That's it, push it back. The top shelf will go on quite easily afterwards. So now I can put a bit of glue on each of these corners. And obviously before it dries completely, I have the opportunity to just straighten, make sure everything is straight as it should be. The difficulty seems to be getting the amount of glue out of the bottle without covering yourself in the glue. So anybody's got any useful tips on that, that would be really helpful. So that one goes in there. And then finally this piece will go on the top. So at the risk of it falling apart, I'm going to stand it up. Ooh, hasn't fallen apart. Okay, so now I'm going to squeeze it together, and I'm going to put a bit of glue along each edge. Again, try not to get so much glue out of it. And now I can make sure there's not a right way or a wrong way. That one looks a better edge than the other one. So I'm going to just put that on the top. And I just take away these excess bits of glue. It might be useful not having a damp cloth rather than anything else. Make sure that's straight. That's the important thing. As the edge will be a bit skew-whiffed. Okay, so I'm going to stop this stage here, and I will see you again soon. and we'll move on to another shelf. We've got shelf 2 to do and shelf 4. So in the next video I shall be doing shelf 2 and shelf 4. So today we've managed to achieve building the door with the trellis across the bottom. We've managed to build a 3-tier shelf and a 2-tier shelf, and that's what we've achieved today. So I'll see you again very shortly.